Hi class, name is Nick Fish. I just got done taking the health and wellness assessment. And well, first off, to start, we'll go over the 7 basic dimensions of wellness. The first dimension, environmental, then occupational, intellectual, spiritual, physical, emotional, and the 7th being social. So for me going into this assessment, I assumed that my highest score would be my physical score, because that is the one that I put the most effort into. I guess I would say I make it a point to exercise 4 to 5 times a week, at least, usually 6 or 7, if I had the time for it. And I make fairly good choices with what I put in my body. I try to have, good nutrition. I like to feed my body what it needs, not necessarily what I want. And I think the reason my score was so low was because of the couple questions in there that were related to driving. It was how often you wear your seatbelt, which I don't wear my seatbelt as often as I should. And the second one was how often you talk on your cell phone when you're driving, and I have a bad habit of talking on my cell phone quite a bit when I'm behind the wheel. So I'm going to make it a point to, 1, wear my seatbelt more, and 2, not talk on the phone near as often. And another score that I was surprised was so low was my stress score, because that, for me, doesn't feel like an issue. I feel like I do pretty well managing my stress. I don't feel stressed very often. I think that score came from my lack of planning. I don't plan ahead very well. I tend to wait until the last minute to do schoolwork or a lot of things that have a deadline. I tend to wait until close to the deadline, which is not a good way to manage stress. So another score that was fairly low for me was my environmental score. My environmental score was a little lower, I think, due to my lack of looking at labels in grocery stores. I don't look to ensure that the things I'm buying were used with recycled materials, whether or not I should. But anyways, then my higher scores, which coming in, I assumed that my social wellness score would be relatively high, because I feel like I have really good friendships. I got foundational friendships that I've had since I was a little kid that I still have today, and I'm comfortable talking to those people and confiding in those people. And so I assumed that my social score would be fairly high. Surprisingly for me, 2 of them that were also my highest were my spiritual score and my emotional score. I guess part of it for me was I just assumed that the spiritual score would be based largely around your religious beliefs and, how often, I guess maybe not how often you went to church, but how dedicated you were to things of like manners related to church. And I think the reason my score was so high was because it was more based around how strong you hold your beliefs and how your beliefs guide your life. And for me, it was more like my personal values that guide my life than my spiritual or my religious beliefs, I guess I should say. And my emotional scores were really high because I feel like I'm really tolerant of most people. I don't judge people's opinions. Try not to be judgmental with anybody. So I think that I think that was a cause of my emotional score being high. And what I learned about wellness overall was that it's an ever-changing process. It's not just one choice one day that makes up for it. It's, you constantly have to be conscious of the choices you're making, from, being physically active to what you're eating and if you're wearing your seatbelt when you're driving and all of that nature. So, the ways I can improve my weaker scores are I'm going to try to, like I said, wear my seatbelt more often. I'm going to start planning ahead better for things that could be stressful in the future. Not do my homework on the last day, things of that nature. And that's it. Thank you.